fated decision-making choices and directional shifts are happening, fated because of the nodes of fate. The value of Mars choosing, deciding, and then bifurcating a part of your life from Taurus is that that choice will last. Earth is not easily moved, right? This impacts a lot of you fixed signs pretty strongly. Your fated crossroads Martian moment. Change when only necessary, right? Not change for change's sake. Sometimes you get chosen. I will say sometimes life chooses for you. There is a vibe in our sky. Mars is moving into position to make a flowing aspect to the North Node and the South Node of fate. And this energy is initiating some kind of karmic or destined decision-making or change that's going to bring positive results to your life. In fact, this kind of story where Mars is sextiling and trining the nodes of fate from the sign of Taurus, as the nodes are in Pisces and the node is in Virgo, last happened back in July of 2007. Before that, May of 2000, and now behind that even further, January of 1989. So once every 18 odd years, this kind of sky lines up. Of course, because Mars is in a fixed sign, Taurus, this impacts a lot of you fixed signs pretty strongly. And you're going to be making major changes. Who are the fixed signs? That's you Leos and Aquariuses. That's you Taurus and Scorpio folk. This is going to have a huge impact on your reality, but every single sign will be able to use this energy. Sometimes Mars is where we decide. Sometimes Mars is where we act. Sometimes Mars is where just directional changes happen. Because when we're at a crossroads and we can go left or right, Mars is that guy who chooses. And so we find ourselves at these kind of celestial crossroads with fated destined stories. I should call this your fated crossroads Martian moment. And we're going to talk about what it means for your sign. We could briefly touch on what it means for the world as well in our about an hour and 15 minutes together here today. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothy, and this is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. Whole sign houses, of course, are always a part of the way I work, and asteroids and fixed stars help as well. If you're new here, say hello by letting me know in the comments, liking and subscribing, etc. Now, I would love to celebrate with you. So code CELEBRATE, all capital letters, on my site, lorilothian.com, is where you can buy all of the courses I've taught. These are the 1 or 2 hour courses that I teach, usually about 2 hours by the time we're done. And these are all for resale. Finding your past lives in the chart, finding the people in your chart, like your spouse and your children, find love cycles for love timing, synastry, all of these kinds of courses are in there. So check it out. I'm celebrating. Oh yeah, code is CELEBRATE, all caps, 40% off, because I just hit 150,000 subscribers. Yay me! I'm recording this video for you on May the 18th. All right, guys, the first thing I want to say is holy man, holy man. So Mars is in Taurus, and in Taurus, as of May 19th, he is not in his best condition, but he's also not reckless here, right? He's steadfast. He's only making change when necessary. He's deciding with a kind of fixity, meaning change when only necessary, right? Not change for change's sake. Fixed signs don't like change. It's like when you spray a fixative on a piece of art you've just painted, it holds the art in place. Fixed signs do not adapt to change frequently. They don't prefer it. And fixed energy is about that stable place, right? And the energy of that means that Mars will only make choices of huge consequence in our lives or in the collective. Yes, he's debilitated in the sign of Venus's love and beauty and kindness and pleasure and nurturance. Yes, he's not in his home kingdom. That doesn't mean he can't do a good job. When I see Mars in Libra, I always joke and say Mars in Libra, Venus's other kingdom of debility, he's the warrior in the United Nations peacekeeping tent or whatever, or mission, right? He wants to make peace, I guess. If I have to, I won't fight. And in Taurus, he's a bulldozer. He's this guy, instead of having a weapon, Mars likes his weapons, so to speak. He would be like, okay, I got a shovel, a pickaxe, I got a bulldozer, I got to move the earth, right? An earth mover. And moving earth isn't easy. Earth is not easily moved, right? Yes, we can have dust storms and the wind will blow some sand on top of the dry earth. But in general, moving earth takes energy. Moving earth takes time. If you think about the Grand Canyon, water erosion over time, even water can move earth. Yes, a mudslide, but for most parts moving Earth requires a huge amount of energy, whether it's a mudslide because we have a raging river overflowing its borders, or through long, slow erosion. And so when Mars finally chooses from a fixed sign and helps you decide to go A or B, which path will you choose, the road less taken, believe me, then you're going to stick with it. The value of Mars choosing, deciding, and then bifurcating a part of your life from Taurus is that choice will last. That will fix that choice in place. And that makes me excited by this sky. I'm going to show you the chart. We're going to go through your sign, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're one of my regulars who's been here a long time, you may have been unsubscribed. Many people have by YouTube for all channels. They keep unsubscribing people. I don't know why. Please resubscribe. All right. Anything else I want to tell you about that? No, I'm going to show you the chart and then we'll talk. And I think you're going to find this extremely interesting. So here's what I want to say. Fated decision-making choices and directional shifts are happening. Fated because of the nodes of fate. The North Node in Pisces since January of 2025, and the South Node in Virgo since then as well, around January 11th, 2025. Won't be back for another 18 years. As I said, go back to 2007, July, May of 2000, January of 89. That's the last time this kind of crossroads pivot decision-making stuff woke up in our skies. Now, one thing I want to talk about is the idea that sometimes you get chosen. We're all like, I'm going to make a big choice in my life. I'm going to quit that relationship. I'm going to quit that drug or alcohol. I'm going to quit my marriage. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change my profession. I'm going to change my university. I'm going to change this. Like, change is Mars's wheelhouse. And we're motivated and we're directional and we're deciding. Those are the archetypes. But I will say sometimes life chooses for you. And Mars will just be the mechanism by which the choice is made. Sometimes a relationship must end and you're not actually the chooser. The partner you're with is. Sometimes the job must complete because it's not right for you and the business is going to lay people off. So it's a kind of a bifurcation of direction, whether you're the chooser or the universe is the chooser. So don't say, I didn't choose this relationship to end because of the Mars story. No, but it was being chosen for you. So there is a larger intelligence at work in the sky. Today, when you listen for your sun sign, I want you to consider listening for elements to do with your career and purpose, and know that the sun is your core essential nature. It's the true you. If you're listening for your moon sign, then it's your true you, like the spirit of you. Moon sign, how you think and feel about your life, but also it's just to do with your home, your nest, where you live, your domicile. And rising sign, that's the simulation avatar. It's your character in the video game of life that you've chosen to play as a soul. The soul lights up that character. That's your sun, the spiritual essence of you. But as we get older, we find that the sun after 45 becomes very active. And if you're listening for your rising sign, no matter what age, it's going to have circumstantial stories that your character in the movie of life has decided to experience. Okay. So there's a lot more fated qualities, in my humble opinion, to energies connected to our ascendant, where I think our sun can have a little bit more agency or power to choose. All right, let me bring the chart up. Let's go ahead and we're going to talk about all signs. So this just happens to be set for a Libra rising. We'll be moving that around, not to worry. And you'll notice that, am I still recording? Yep. You'll notice that on the May 24th timeframe, you'll notice Mars has already crossed into, he got here on the 19th of the month, and he'll be here until, can't remember right now, the end of, where's my notes? Where's my good old recording notes? Because my brain is tired. Had a bit of a family crisis last night, so I'm not quite with everybody here. Plus I'm moving and packing boxes. It looks to me like, Mars, praise the Lord. Yes, May 19th to June 28th. May 19th to June 28th. Mars will have a long journey through the fixed sign of the bull. So, bulldozing his way through the sign. In the meantime, in our lives, collectively and individually, as Mars goes through the sign of the bulldozer, and he is now on May the 24th, the day that this video comes out. But don't worry, because this is the initiation point. This is the beginning of what it will unfold for the entire time that Mars is traveling through Taurus after this, right? So Mars will be traveling through Taurus to June 28th. So what I'm trying to get through to you guys, And we just had an algal infused May 16th new moon here that we're going to say that things that happen most likely close or on or near the new moon. When was the new moon? May 16th. It was on algal. It was like 23 or 24 degrees of 23 degrees of Taurus, if I remember correctly. And Mars is going to plow right over that territory as he gets closer to the end of June, right over where that moon was the last week of June. And it's all one story. Mars is working with what has already happened, is mopping up, right? So I will say it this way. What's happening on Sunday, May the 24th, because you may watch this video 3 or 4 days later, it doesn't matter. It's activating what happens through until the end of June, until June the 28th. You're going to make some major life turning point decisions. And some of those decisions have been activated where you knew there was a need to make a change as early as May 16th. As early as May 16th. And then when Mars moved into Taurus on the 19th, he's like, okay, we're going to take some change, decision-making, activating, life-turning point things going on here, dudes. Let's get with it. But one thing I'll say about the world astrology, I really want to just get to your sign today, is that Mars is moving out of the sign of Aries, where Iran has its sun. This meant that Mars was benefiting success in war with that nation for a long time, from April 9th until May 19th, the upper hand was for Iran. They may lose the upper hand after this. Okay, that's quite possible. And Mars will start moving through the sign of Taurus, where the nation of IS, and it ends with an L. Think about a very aggressive nation in the Middle East. That nation has its sun where Mars is. So there's now almost a baton passing from one country to another in terms of what Mars is doing. However, Mars debilitated could put the nation of I, with it ends with an L, in difficult circumstances because Mars isn't good at war when he's in the sign of peace, Venus, right? He can be ragey. He can be like a bull with seeing red, going on a rage. You know what I mean? He loses his shit kind of vibe. Okay. Righto. Let's get started with Aries. And just a quick check-in. I want to make sure, because I meant to do that. Are there any major asteroids sitting on Mars as he ingresses? I do not believe so. Memory serves me. Let me just stop the share. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll get going. Boy, oh boy, guys, if I look like tired, I am. I didn't put any makeup on here. I had a rough sleep. You know, family crises can emerge in the middle of your real life. Everybody's okay. It worked out all right. Well, it's a good thing I looked. We have Tauro and Demeter, very active with Mars. And this could be a lot of stuff to do with the stock markets or agriculture, fertilizer, prices of food, etc. But also, unfortunately, difficult circumstances with combative energies. So when Mars comes to 4 degrees and he flows to the south node and flows back from the north node, and I'll tell you what that means for your sign. What we're noticing is that as he does all of that, he's right exactly across the street from Tauro. Now, Tauro is a bull archetype, and here's what the software describes it as. It's number 1685, and it's the maiden name, by the way, of the wife of the discoverer, I guess, with Tauro. Flexing one's muscles psychologically, challenging others, competitiveness, bullying and intimidation, toughness and doing hard work, seeing red and being pushed until one loses control and charges blindly. Well, Mars is already capable of charging blindly and losing control when he's in Taurus, let alone opposite Tauro on the other side. So that does not bode well for calmer heads prevail, especially after the algal losing one's head May 16th lunation in Taurus. And at the same time, we see up here, asteroid Demeter. She's an agricultural goddess like Ceres, and she's about what grows and what's in the earth. And I'll just read it to you. Greek goddess of fruitful soil and agriculture. Similar to the Roman goddess Ceres, taking relationships and efforts such as mother-child, growing, nurturing, living things, focus on food, diet, nutrition, and how one nurtures others and conflicts with mother. Now, I'm not going to go conflicts with mother. I'm going to go agricultural stories because it's quite possible with the delays in fertilizer through the Strait of Hormuz, there's going to be something to do with the precious cost of Venus rules money, right? Of things that grow. And so we'll see some escalating food prices as well. And when I think this is an archetype that lasts until the end of June. All right. So I do not like the bull. because of course this Mars is with the nation of IS and ends in an L. And so there's like seeing red, charging blindly, losing one's, poop kind of vibe. And if you really do want to be technical, for those of you astrologers who are very, very technical, you'll notice what happens is a grand cross, right? Now, a grand cross is never easy. No. But, I don't usually embed minor asteroids in grand crosses, but there is a grand cross here on May the 24th. So we'll have to see what happens on May the 24th, give or take a day or two before or after, where there could be some really crunchy stuff going on here in the world. It could do with, death, Pluto. China could get involved with Pluto on its ascendant right now and its moon. You can have things to do as well with water, Scorpio, stealth and secrets. Of course, anytime Mars is involved, it's war. But if anything about Mars in Taurus, it's boots on the ground. Okay. That's what you got to say, right? Boots on the ground. I hate the expression, but Mars would be the boots on the ground warrior, like the infantry, that kind of thing. And we also have a square over here to the soil. So maybe it's just boots on the ground in the gardens and the soil of the world as there's a war going on. Whose boots are on the ground and why? Well, hopefully not. Clearing the drawings, going to your sign. We're going to focus on the more positive side for your sign. Shall we do it that way? Let's go back in time. Hours. We need to do the hours to pull back the time. The time is coming backwards. And we're going to start with Aries. Did I pass Aries? Oh, guys, I did. So the nodes are being bending the nose by, not bending, sextiling and trine the nose by Mars. Let's talk about Aries sun, moon, and rising sign. Aries sun, moon, and rising sign. This is all about you and your decisions around money or your turning point moments around finances. Most times, most places, the second house is a money house, but there is an exception for you, Aries, with Mars in a waning sextile to the North Node. This could also be changes in your dietary habits and styles, what you put through your facial orifices, and what has to do with addictions. It could also be like relieve you of that. Major life turning points around addictive habits, substances. Secondly, the North Node up here can increase your wealth through digital income, borderless revenue, foreign lands, foreign people, and foreign places. But Mars requires a pivot point or choosing is happening. And that will be true, yes, May 24th through to the end of June, basically. So you're in this huge pivot around your finances relative to your long distance money making endeavors where you're getting money from far off people and far off lands. And in our modern world, that's more common than not. Or you could work for an international company, for example. Now, as Mars is pivoting that story, he's also flowing to what you need to let go of, what you need to surrender. And it can be about your job, your work, your health, letting go of something to do with money connected to the sixth house. This is the house of employees. It's possible some of you might be thinking, oh, I've got to lean out my employee list. I've got too many employees. Major turning point decisions that are destined, connected to employment and employee structures, right? So will I stay in my job or leave my job? Will I continue this line of work or not? Will I continue to employ this person or these people? Those are stories where you're kind of being chosen by the sky to make destined and fated decisions one way or another. And Venus is the ruler of Mars. And she says, well, we're bringing it to the home and abundance and prosperity and expansion and growth in and from the home. So these kinds of destined changes around habits, dietary habits, money-making endeavors, sources of income, and work is going to actually increase the bounty you have in and from your home life and the enjoyment of your home life, the pleasure and fun and enjoyment you would experience in your home. Whether you work from home or not, it doesn't matter. These changes are important to your well-being. Mars and Venus here, Jupiter and Venus here only happen usually every 12 years to coexist and conjunct here, although it did happen last year, but not with this nodal destined turning point thing. And I want you to finally go back to think about like January of 25 until this very moment where the South Node has been moving through your sixth house. A lot of you did let go of health challenges or habits that could impact your health. A lot of you let go of a rental property. A lot of you got ready to or did let go of a pet situation, but you certainly were letting go of ways of working that didn't serve you. Now, I have an Aries sun. Sun is your career, remember? And I let go of doing it all by myself and got staff. I hired people in destined fated ways because I was doing everything myself and it was exhausting me. So there's an example of what you might be seeing, but some of you may have let go of jobs as well. I let go of the jobs within my job, doing every other job that anybody else could do administratively. So there was a letting go of a job situation, but that it's actually the tactics of what I did. This is my FDFF mug, and boy, could I use that today. You're talking to a girl who had about a 5-hour sleep. So if you think I'm like kerfuffled, I am. So hang in there with me, guys, and thank you for being so kind. Try moving, teaching a course, and recording videos, and then having a family member crisis. It's a lot. It's a lot. Whoa. Mars is moving Taurus through your sign, and your sign is being bulldozed. There's good news and there's bad news. Okay. One, Mars likes to be fast moving and adventurous and sometimes daredevil and reckless, but he can't do that. He's moving Earth. So now it's about being more patient to see the fruits of choices and decisions that you are making. You are making choices. You are making bifurcated crossroads decisions, and Mars is giving you a time frame for it. Now, he started here on May 19th and he continues to the end of June. But some of these choices may be spinning off the alcohol-infused decapitation star, which is also alcohol, FYI, that happened on May the 16th. And Mars is now mopping up after it or tidying up the Earth. So if you want to think about Mars, like, there's a bunch of rubble where the detonation of alcohol happened on May 16th, give or take a few days, maybe, then now you're going to be cleaning it up. And this energy is good if you're making major life decisions that are going to impact your career trajectory with Pluto in the 10th house, while at the same time connecting to the North and South node. The North and South node here are extremely positive. If you're wanting to increase your joy of or your worldly success in your 11th house, that would be the gains of your career. That would be the perks and the rewards of your career. And at the same time, at the very same time, you're able to let go of pleasures that are not healthy for you. The South node in the 5th house of health and love, but also pleasure and joy and comfort, even with the moon there. You're needing to let go of some kind of pleasurable life activities or circumstances that can hold you back. Well, you also expand your capacity for more worldly success and the actualization of long-term goals and dreams. I like this choosing point for you. It's also important, Taurus sun, moon, and rising, to consider that the North Node is trying to bring destined pivotal changes into your life since 2011 in your friendship circles and groups and networks of people that you hang out with. And so there is a pivot here of new types of social networks and people that you want to hang with. That's what that looks like to me, honestly. Venus is trying to translate this energy the best she can. Like she's like working it for you to in this enjoyment and prosperity in the 3rd house. This would be a great place to prosper if you work in media, the online world, writing, if you're a teacher, skills-based teacher, or you want to learn something, or you could be also looking at major pivotal decisions regarding neighbors and neighborhood. But also the 3rd house is where you go on the daily, the bar, the pub, the restaurant, the grocery store, the gas station, and your local neighborhood environment. Now, you want to have enjoyment and prosperity and bounty there, but also you're being measured and you're being decisive. There's got to be changes. Your Mars is saying, we got to make changes. What are you going to change in your life? If Mars could do it the best he could do it, he'd ask you to get rid of addictions and self-undoing. He rules your 12th house. And he asks you to align more deeply with your purpose. He rules your 9th house. So in many, many ways, I think you're making some decisions to be on purpose or even find more spiritual alignment and faith in your life. Well, you get rid of how you are operating as a saboteur of your own good life story and tripping your own self up. Mars can help you do the decision-making change energy and lean on 3rd house people, a sibling, a cousin, friends in the neighborhood that you've known for a long time, even childhood friends, in order for you to make this decision more easily, whatever this decision point is about. Finally, because Mars does rule your 7th house. Some of these choices may very much involve marriage type, long-term committed love relationships. And you might be going head to head, right? Toro, a blowout across the way. So be cautious around the 23rd or 24th, around the 24th, around this intensity that could look like in May, you have a really big, difficult, intense blowout with your partner, or a decision that must be made that is incredibly powerful and important. And maybe your partner is acting like Toro, the bully, but maybe your partner is also just very ardent about something. That's for those of you who have partners. If you don't, please don't worry about it, right? That's what I'll say. I wonder if Mars wants you guys to garden, because there's Demeter. Grow some flowers, put your hands in the soil, get into the energy of the earth. Maybe that's what you're being called to do. Find that solar light in the earth. Find your light here. Like, where can you ground in the earth? I bet you that's what Mars and Demeter are trying to tell you. This is the home, but this is like feet on the ground, toes in the soil, that kind of thing. Our modern world, we are all very ungrounded. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. The sky tells us that you have the nodes of fate activated by the planet Mars. And he's also asking for pivotal directional change that is fated and destined. Some of you Geminis could definitely be quitting a habit or a bad pattern or addiction or a self-undoing strategy. That's Mars's 12th house placement. And he's wanting to cement something into place that can last a long time. This is a decision that has a long game, lasting strategy. At the same time, because he is trining the south node, you might also be letting go of karmic patterns, past life patterns, patterns connected to childhood, especially to mother with the moon down there. So what did you learn from your mother, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising, that you now realize, oh, I might have to break free of this? This is a very soulful moksha liberation vibe. It's not just on the surface. It's like, I need to break free, cut away and sever this, childhood story, these childhood codes that I'm living that aren't serving me, especially on the matrilineal line, mother's side. I need to cut, break, and free myself from karmic patterns, vows of chastity and poverty, or things like that, where Mars is traveling through the 12th. But he does have a beautiful applied aspect there, like the North Node and him are loving each other up in the career space. And so there's an idea that by cutting the cords of that which holds you back in addiction, self-undoing, bad habits, karmic patterns from childhood, past lives, you're able to exceedingly increase your worldly success in the visible sky, in your career, and in your reputation zone, right? Because Mars is able to make those choices with you or as you, but they're coming from a deep soul level and they're not on the surface. You might not even mentally think about them. They just might be unfolding. Mars is the ruler of your health house. You want to improve your health. You want to increase your health. Venus says bring pleasures into your mouth or nose with Jupiter that are good for you, that are nurturing, that are microbiome and digestive tract success stories. There could be some big dietary changes in a very easy and flowing way. And that includes, of course, substance abuse and misuse disorders. But I do think that your health will improve as a result of this turning point energy. But when push comes to shove, there's a lot of intensity here, Toro and you. There may be some big changes coming connected to where you live, connected to rental properties that are fated and destined, that will increase your prosperity and that will increase your health as well. Any changes of property connected to rentals, or because Mars exalts your 8th house, or maybe purchases of a new home. These changes of home, whether they're rental or purchases, that could be evident for you by the time you get to end of June, will be extremely good for money and health and dietary habits. Now, you're going to notice that Demeter, the goddess of the earth, the soil, things that grow, is in the neighborhood. It's like, can you get your feet into the earth? Can you ground yourself with things that are earthy? And the goddess of the soil, the goddess of agriculture. And this could be a move will bring you into a community or a neighborhood locally where people grow things, a community garden, or where you're closer to nature, and you can activate that grounding energy as well. And it all spins out to be good for health, good for work routines and work habits, to be really good for many things. Ultimately, Mars is quite capable of bringing into your life a lot of gains from your career once you sort of reorient the mandala of the sky, as he does own your 11th house of career gains. And so, all said and done, more prosperity and more orientation towards what you really desire in the long game strategy regarding your career. So, I want you to pay attention to how Mars is prodding you. You may have noticed on the algal moon on May 16th some impetus for change in all of the areas I've described. You could even get a pet out of this one if you don't have one. And by the end of June, when Mars is leaving the sign of Taurus, you should have evidence for the crossroads archetype having been activated for you. And once you go through that turning point decision or action or bifurcation and dividing things, Mars, you're not going to go back. The fixity here will keep it in place. So it's not a casual choice. It's a lasting decision. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. There's a karmic pivot point. Oh, I like that word, karmic pivot point. Let me write that down. I have to think of thumbnail titles. Yes, I know AI gives me ideas, but often stupid ones. Everything changes. Karmic pivot point and crossroads moments. Okay. So, I got some ideas there. So this karmic pivot point that Mars is choosing, deciding, and leaning into. Mars is in your house of career gains, a sibling one older, and your long-range goals, dreams, and your social community and social networks. As Mars is making a pivotal decision here, a crossroads bifurcation of direction, he is also flowing to the south node in your third house and the north node in your ninth house. This kind of wedgie formation is active, and it sort of says destined alignment with one's dharma or purpose in life. But also decisions may be made regarding siblings and travel, whether international or domestic. And the pivoting of these decisions will lock and load something in place. And the other element of Mars up here is how he's able to work with the south node to release and let go of something down here that may not serve you. It could literally be like you're overly engaged in your social media landscape, or you need to pull back a bit and reassess something to do with your writing, teaching, marketing, selling type vibrations. Even you might need to cut, but in a destined way, things you've been working on that are written projects. You're like, okay, we're going to slice that in two. That's not one book, for God's sake, that's two books. And that supports successful publishing. So there's those things, but the Mars energy could come through a friend. It could come through a sibling one older. There can be that push from that person to help you navigate in a new direction. I know that Toro down here could blow you out with a love partner, romantic, sexual dating partner, or with a child. Look for tension, of course, on the 24th, but that tension is bigger than a day in the life of you, a day or two before the 24th. It's like, then what happens over the next, 20 till the 28th of June? There could be some changes, like you're asking your child to move out of the home, or your child has something big going on in their lives, and there's this big intervention or intensity around it. And I like the energy if you are cutting the cords in some way, the apron strings with a child, and yet there can be some intense sort of bullheadedness and bullying between you and another person, like a child, like a firstborn child especially, or like a lover. That Pluto square for the world is gnarly as all hell, I'm going to have to say. But Mars squaring Pluto coming into the 24th, 25th in your chart can be some major changes around tax structures you might want to incorporate here, or different structures to do with how you invest your money, or major changes you want to make regarding inheritance monies or spousal shared resource money. And there's just a pivot at this time. Mars does square the goddess of agriculture in the house of what you put in your mouth. It's simple. There's a push to change your diet towards more plant-based nutrition and more herbs and food that grows rather than food that is slaughtered. That's all that might mean. What are you going to do with that? Right? So that's what my advice is. Change your diet a little bit more to more unprocessed or nutritious plant-based or herbal types of substances. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Uh-oh. Somebody's reaching out to me on the buy and sell. Because I'm moving, I'm literally got a ton of stuff listed on buy and sell. So, yeah, that's my life, guys. So here we go. I want to talk about Leos being very, very connected right now to the goddess of agriculture, Demeter / Ceres. So there's something going on in your life as we begin this 24th of the month energy. And we're talking about Mars, but I want you to really focus on things that grow. Maybe it's just being a gardener. Maybe it's about what you want to eat that invites growing things. Okay. Just a backdrop. So Mars is in your 10th house of career, right? This is up here, your reputation, your career, making pivotal crossroads decisions, karmic turning points for you in positive ways to allow for you to do a few things. One, increase your chunky money, right? Like, you don't have to work so hard. Can you invest money? Can money make money? Royalty income, derivative money, Google AdSense money, money from your spouse, money from your inheritances, money from the divorce settlements, whatever this money is, kind of lean into that a bit more. And there might be a need to let go of the hustle, the hard work, the savings that you're like clutching to. And maybe it just means release some of your savings as well. Yeah, maybe. Did you learn something from a mother about values, money, earnings, wealth, and success? Because mother, South Node, past life, karmic tendencies, what you learned about being wealthy, having money, being financially successful, you might be getting ready to kind of gently let that go, to release that, to no longer be bound by those stories so that you can be a professional success, Leos, but also a success in your financial structures. And definitely some of you are definitely making some real pivots in the way you work. Mars is the exaltation lord of job space, colleagues, coworkers, employees. There's this kind of destined crossroads turning point, and it's going to fix itself in place because Mars makes decisions that last when he's in fixed sign Taurus. So really pay attention. Ask yourself on Algol star Taurus new moon on the 16th of May, what catalyzed from that? Because here until the 24th, until the end of the month, Mars is making your pivotal choices happen, whether you know it or not. If you don't like your job, you can get fired. That's okay. A better job will come. Now, Mars is also having a discussion with Pluto. Major critical turning points in long-term committed love relationships are activated here for you. And with Toro the Bull, if you live with your love partner or anyone in your home, there is a bit of a blowout coming up around the 24th, a day or two before and a couple of days after, looking for sort of explosive energy with domestic partners, with people you live with. And there can be some intense energy here, especially with a square to Pluto. Now, it could be nothing more than a fleeting fight with the one you love, the one you live with, but because it's happening in a fixed sign, it could have lasting consequences. If you go back to the Algol moon on Taurus, May 16th, did you have a blowout with a partner? Right? There's something going on here. Do you want to make changes in your life connected to your work and relatively connected to your home? That story is here too. Mars would have you align with deeper purpose and alignment with your dharma in life, as well as he would point you gently, to what you need and want to do and have in your home. Literally, Mars could say it's time to make changes in the home, right? Mars has got a hammer, maybe you're changing the home up, but he's in the 10th house, busy working. So changes in the home relative to your work, build an office, get a dedicated space for where you work. That would be an example of what the sky would like to do. Build your home office, make a dedicated home office, find a corner of the kitchen that's just your sacred work territory if you work from home. Thanks for that, guys. I think I'm going to have to stop for a minute and I'll do one more sign because I have someone coming in the door. Okay, guys, let's get going back to the story. We're going to address the next sign. This is a cool sky. I like the idea of that cementing in a very big decision, letting it really land, so to speak. And I believe my brain will tell me we are starting with Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. And we're talking about how the nodes are being sextiled and trine, wedged out by Mars. And this is going to activate on the 24th of the month. This is going to last until June 28th. It's going to maybe connect you back to the Algol moon, new moon in Taurus, Algol star infused, May 16th. Okay, Virgos, what major life points are coming to a crossroads and a karmic pivot point as you are having destined decisions or changes of direction? Those destined decisions or changes of direction are all about what Mars wants to accomplish in your 9th house. The deepest meaning of that 9th house is it's being on purpose, aligned with your purpose, aligned with meaning and dharma pathways in life. Another layer of that house would be international travel or, courts and legal cases or educational decisions. But Mars is pivoting up here, making a turning point, and you are able to let go, surrender, and release something that is not for you. Now, it's possible with Demeter being a goddess of things that grow, there's something that you eat or ingest through your nose or mouth that's addictive that grows, marijuana grows, right? Grapes grow on the vine. What thing that grows that Demeter grows in this world, the agricultural goddess, is good for nothing for you because she's in the house of self-undoing and addictions, and Mars is cutting, ending, and severing. You probably come to terms with it. This thing that grows that you ingest is somehow not right for you. It can be not right in a lot of ways, right? Pluto in the house of health, terrible for your health, squaring Mars. Maybe it's time to transform, rebirth, regenerate, and renew yourself by getting rid of that one thing that you are using that comes from Mother Earth that is being used the wrong way. Now, Mars's decisions here last. He's in the house of spiritual community. I would put communities like AA or Alcoholic Drugs Anonymous or stuff into communities of spiritual alignment. So you might be joining that or deciding through those venues if that's part of your wheelhouse. Might make some major turning point decisions regarding energies connected as well. 2, in a positive way, your long-term committed love relationships, the ones that exist already. This is not a pop-up new relationship. This has to be here already. You've had the North Node of Fate expanding your relationship with a significant other person for quite a long time. In fact, this began in January of 2025 to grow a bigger pot. Let's buy a home, move in together, get engaged, get proposed, set a wedding date. There's a need to expand the pot for the relationship to grow. And as this story's been playing out, a lot of you are thinking to yourself, okay, now that I'm growing this bigger pot, and Mars is helping me make decisions, I'm going to move in a new direction. Whatever you're letting go of impacts your health because you have the South Node in your sign, the sign of physical wellness, health. And you also have the moon. I want you to think about your mom or a member of your family and maybe wonder about whether or not something that mom did or does or mom's influence is also a part of what you're letting go of. Okay, just like letting go of something to do with the matrilineal lineage could be a part of this as well. Because Mars is making you make this pivotal, destined, dharmic turning point decision, he also has other elements going on here. He's opposite that Toro, and there may be a bit of a confrontational energy, the bull against the bull, the bulldozer against the bull, Toro, coming from siblings, cousins, neighbors, and also people that you know in your local environment, the friends that you kind of, we sit around and have popcorn with, really good friends. Partly this could lead to a bit of a tension around the 24th, give or take a day, but also help you make that turning point and that axis of change. Ultimately, you might want to cut away some friends and find different and better friends. Venus tells Taurus, find a community that makes you prosper, that makes you expand, that gives you truth, knowledge, and wisdom, that educates you. Find a different community. This may be cutting and letting go of local friends that are not serving you at this time, or friendship circles and groups. With Pluto in the 6th house, yes, you want to improve your health. You also want to improve anything to do with the work environment as well. But mostly, given this kind of lineup here, it very much speaks to me of improving your physical well-being as well, and by the decisions you're making at this time. I mean, you could quit your job because you want to travel the world, go to an ashram, that kind of thing. But all said and done, a lot of you are looks to me a lot more like dietary habits changes, addiction, substance use changes, etc. There is a call for refining your community and your friendship circles and the people around you to this beautiful Jupiter-Venus story, which are people who have your back and are there for you, but they're good and they're true and they're lasting friendship groups. So this could be a wholesale change, right? I'm quitting the Jehovah's Witness community and I'm moving into this meditation circle group or something. Big changes up here along those lines. Pivot points for sure. I can hear some of you go, I don't have a problem with self-undoing addiction. Yeah, most people don't think they do, but think about what things that grow that you ingest in any way. Grains, wine, there's something wrong that needs to change. Venus is pointing to what goes in your nose and mouth. It could be the smallest change, guys, the smallest change. Could we just get rid of gluten? Gluten's undoing your health, right? Legumes, eggplants, nightshades. Look into dietary things that are undermining your physical well-being is what I'm trying to point you in the direction of. A few of you might want to go back to school. but you're not going to go back to school between now and the end of June. But this could open up a door of permission granted to go into a possible professional direction based on new education. Pay attention to whether that happens. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Mars is bending the nodes of fate in a karmic destined turning point archetype. He is going to activate the nodes in a flowing and easy way, but give you lasting results. Haven't seen this, as I mentioned, like 2007, 2089. This is like a rare vibe. And the intro, I hope you guys watch the intros, please. Mars is definitely having his way with you. If you are, I know I sound like a broken record, but the 12th house gets activated anytime you're looking at addictions. You're also looking at karmic patterns that have to be cut, karmic patterns connected to your mother and matrilineal line as well. And at the same time, you're making decisions in what's normally a financial house. This can be about shared resources with another, major decisions about your investment monies, your royalty income, your Google AdSense, some money from spousal separations, and tax structure monies and stuff like that. So this kind of chunky money, shared resource money, unearned income money, and pivotal choice point changes coming through your sky. Many of you is going to be connected to being able to find a way to eliminate a debt. And that can be anything from a mortgage to a credit card. With the North Node here, you could also be getting rid of anything to do with a job path that while you're experiencing great worldly success, you need to make some very fundamental changes regarding money. If you work for an international company, like you work in another country or the company's internationally based, then there's also major turning point decisions regarding money and company, international, and job. Now, with the bull, Tauros, opposite Mars, kind of a very bull against bull energy, very intense around the 24th, you're going to look for the evidence that there's something that wants to change in your finances, whether it's your savings, your spendings, your investing, major pivot point here. Now, Mars is definitely choosing for you, as you, with you, but there's something else. Sometimes, not always, not always. Mars can activate inheritance money here. He exalts your house of family of origin, legacy, wealth. Okay. And Venus is talking to him from the house of father figure. So an elder, grandparent, father figure in your family of origin or in your partner's family of origin may be getting ready to pass. Now, you might have noticed some calamitous energy around the algal moon on the 16th, and that's playing out now as well. It's kind of being readdressed. I'll say between the May 24th, a day or two before, all the way to June 28th, monies that come from other people in a chunk may be coming your way from your side of the family or the in-law side of the family. Either or will do. Mars is the owner of your marriage house. This is spousal separation monies, money that you share with a spouse, and major pivot into turning point decisions, and thus also the in-laws. Mars is also your scorpionic ruler of your second house of earnings, which is why I already mentioned you're likely making some big changes in how you make money or how you make money for you. And you're working to get greater prosperity in your career, Venus, Jupiter, through Mars's decisions here. Look for what happens by the end of May, because those decisions and changes you make in your financial structures, earnings, savings, and more are going to increase your professional success and your success in the workplace in general, like whether you're employed or you have employees. You get a sign-on bonus. You'd be asked if you want to buy stock in the company. There's a lot of stuff that could happen here. Or if you want to quit your job, they have to pay you to leave, right? Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. When you go time and traveling back to, if you want, 2007, 2089, the last time the nodes were activated by Mars in your house of marriage. Now, this is your other person, right? I don't care. It could be your audience, clients, customers, but it is your significant other, business partners. And they've got a Taurus bull energy going right now, and they're going to be feeling grumpy or combative. Get ready. And you look at that. Watch out for a blowout with your other person, significant other, perhaps around May 24th, day or two before, and up to a few days after. Kaboom. This could just be a domestic dispute, but with this energy down to Pluto, there could be some significant, intense upset in the home with someone you live with who is your partner. So watch out for that. Take a few deep breaths. Don't go into seeing red, right? Toro the bull, seeing red. You don't need to see red. You're okay. Take a few deep breaths. This will pass. But more importantly, with Mars moving through the seventh house, your significant others making major life changes is probably what's going on here. And they're going to come into pivot, destined turning points in their life. If you don't have a significant other, then it's business partners or customers, clients, and they're pivoting, they're deciding, they're coming to a karmic crossroads. I like that word too, karmic crossroads. Oh, that's a good one. Karmic crossroads. Karmic crossroads. I'm going to use that. I'm trying to think of a title for the thumbnail. Okay. And I'm trying to get this done today, which is whatever, Monday. I kind of want you to consider the idea that Venus is telling Mars what to do, and she's very beautifully placed in a top of the sky, ninth house. Major turning point decisions around childbirth, labor, long distance travel, legal and court matters and settlements, especially in divorce, that we're going to flow in a good way and benefit you and benefit your partner. But because Mars is actually like flowing to the south node, it can be what you and your partner or significant other people I want to let go of as a vision, a goal, a dream, a long-term imaginal vision of what you want your life to be like or your life with your partner to be like, because there's a releasing here. And you also notice that you're increasing something here, more creativity, art, entrepreneurship, enjoyment, pleasure, romance. There can be some pivots toward more intimacy in a relationship that already exists. There could also be a potential here for a single person to have a karmic destined intersection with a new relationship partner. All right, a destined fated one. And that would be also connected to travel or foreign lands or publishing or academic or spiritual communities in ways that you might intersect that new love story. At long last, Mars, he happens to be the exaltation lord of your third house. There may be some very important changes of neighborhood that you and a significant other are going to talk about, especially if it involves travel, another city, another part of the town, and the word rentals, okay, and changes of home and neighborhood. Especially with the square to Mars Pluto, that can definitely move some of you to a new domicile or home. Will you move between May 24th and June 28th when Mars is in Taurus? Probably not, but those decisions will be made. Also connect with the idea of the algal moon on the 16th regarding themes of where you live and what zone of the city or state or province or wherever you live, you want to live in. There may be some shifts here. There may be. The goddess of agriculture, Demeter, is at the top of the sky. It's a tricky one to actually parse, but it could be about what you want to harvest in your career. This could, like, I'm harvesting and I'm cutting a career path, not just a job, but maybe that too. Mars rules your job. Are you taking a break from work? Are you cutting and severing a path of professional advancement? Are you reaping the rewards, but recognizing that after you take the harvest of your professional and work directions, you need to move into something new? You could move into social media, writing, communicating, online marketing, and selling. Definitely. Mars is your Lord, but he rules your third by exaltation. So you could be getting away from corporate or working for someone else and creating your own inspired, entrepreneurial, and muse-driven path through professional money, earnings, and success. Hey, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Quite a sky. So back in, like 2007, 2089, those years, Mars did what he's doing now. He's coming to a karmic crossroads destined shift of direction when it comes to your livelihood, when it comes to rental properties, when it comes to homes, when it comes to health matters and debts if you owe money. And certainly having him sextile Venus from the house of chunky money, I think a few of you are able to reduce, eliminate, or pay off a debt. Now, we're talking about May 24th through to June 28th. We're talking about also going back in time, what happened on that algal-infused, difficult May 16th moon that will help you understand what to do with your debts, your pets, your rental property, your work, and your health. This is a pivotal turning point. It looks like some of you could come into money from inheritance with Mars sextiling the North Node in your fourth house, while also coming into a beautiful connection with Venus. This could open up money from your family of origin, from your parents. It doesn't have to be they're dying or anything. Maybe they're going to give you money, trust, bequeath, living wills or something like that. But you could be looking at family financial resources coming your way under this energy. And when I talk about May 24th to June 28th, it may not happen then, but the decisions or the action points take you there over time. And these are sturdy, fixed results. Watch for this. I mean, this is your health. This is Toro. This would be your addictions and self-undoing, as I always say. So there can be a major turning point to improve your health. You go get your blood work and your liver enzymes are terrible, and you make a powerful pivot point, although it's difficult, and you're struggling within yourself to quit the thing that caused the liver enzymes to be wrong. So medical stories can have pivot points if the medical problem is caused by what you ingest or through your nose or your mouth. And Mars is the exaltation lord of your nose and mouth second house. So I see a lot of you pulling away from habits that no longer work for your health and making major changes. Having the goddess of agriculture weighed the heck up here. This is about food that enlivens you and increases your vitality and even your heart health and cardiovascular. And yet it's a ninth house of education. You might buy a book like Wheat Belly or something like that, and you may read it, knowledge and wisdom and information, and you realize, oh my God, that's my problem. I'm going to go in this direction. Or you get education that allows you to clear your health because you now know why you should do it. And, Pluto, he makes that T square. Major turning points and pivots may occur in your relationship to siblings and money, siblings and family money, and siblings and debt. And those are pivots as well. Ultimately, Mars wants to lush you up on dietary habits, but also exalt your earnings. And by that South Node in the 10th house, are you letting go, surrendering, or releasing, ending a career path as well? Maybe it's draining you. Maybe it's not the path for you. If you're not in a workspace, what are you letting go to do with your reputation? May involve a female, may involve matters to do with your female ancestral line, to release, surrender, and let go of things that are not needed anymore. The mother story is being released in order for your career and your prosperity to succeed. Last but not least, a rental property for sure, right? Yes, you can buy under this or you can rent under this, but there may be a change of home around rental property stories coming up as an idea or a decision or really happening between May 24th and June the 28th. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. I doth speed ahead. Am I still recording? Thank God. First thing I want you to pay attention to is that you have Mars in a sex, romance, love, children house. Sometimes it may not even be about you. It could be about your children. Mars cutting through your 5th house as a bulldozer in Taurus, while also flowing in away to the nodes of fate that creates a wedge, can indicate major turning points that are destined and karmic for your child or children, one of your children. This is likely to activate in your chart more acutely your firstborn child, but children in general. Now, having this energy happen in the 5th house, if you're single, and Venus is in the house of commitment, and Mars is applying to the South Node, could bring a new love story your way. But if so, that love story is coming from the South Node, and the South Node is past lives or karmic connections. And we're talking foreign lands, foreign shores, visa-like kind of places, the 9th house. And yet there also is a surrender and a let go. So if it's not a karmic relationship, there's a letting go of a relationship. There's a need to cut and sever, and it will be severed or cut with or without your permission, but in gentle, flowing, and beautifully harmonious and friendly ways. That includes divorce, of course. Given that the North Node and Mars are hooked up in a sextile, there's an increase of desire for you to expand your destined reach into the house of writing and communicating and teaching and learning and short distance travel. Mars could bring a leisure trip to you with a significant long-term love partner, a romantic getaway, and that could happen close to May 24th or anytime between May 24th and June 28th. Go back to May 16th, algal-infused new moon, if you're in a long-term love relationship, and ask yourself what that moon did for you. when it comes to sex, love, romance, children, committed love, and also artistic, creative, and entrepreneurial stories. That's where Mars is traveling. He's here to make pivots in your art, your creativity, your entrepreneurship. It could allow for great online social media success, and I guess mostly writing, but also areas of teaching and learning. And expanding North Node window of success is here. With Mars as the ruler of your fourth house, which is where you live, and he's in the fifth. A child may leave the home. You may move your home because of a child, be closer to them. You may move your home because of a relationship that's romantic, but also committed. Mars is also the domicile lord of Scorpio, which is your 11th house. This is up here where there's a push and pull between you and a sibling, one older and two younger, perhaps, or siblings are battling. Or the Toro bull who can see red can be a blowout with a friend over something fifth house, a travel plan for a getaway, a blowout with a friend over creative perspectives, a blowout with a friend or ally over something to do with one of your children. They have a different opinion of how you should handle the situation. I often see kids moving and leaving the house when Mars moves through the fifth house if you have children at home. Mars also brings choices to terminate pregnancy here quite often. And so with the South Node and the moon in the ninth house, there can be some of that going on for a child or even a grandchild, actually, around fertility decisions being made, is what I'm saying. And lastly, if any of you have ever thought that one of your ideas is to write something, I don't mind Mercury in the livelihood house as the owner of the South Node. Well, Mars makes pivotal decisions in the house of the muse about whether or not writing something that could be published is in your potential realm of possibility. And so some of you may be making decisions at this time around that and looking for the truth of what's right for you, because the universe will choose for you if you don't choose yourself. Ultimately, all decisions are made without our permission. Don't be disempowered. That's just how the world really works. When there's a lag time, we think we choose to lift our hand, but the brain scan shows that the impetus fired up before we knew we were going to move our hand. So who's choosing, right? And finally, what about this? Finally, this is food, agriculture, things that grow, the harvest goddess in the eighth house. Maybe you're going to take a harvest financially, and it may involve real estate or property or legacy wealth or money coming from someone you grew up with. That can include a sibling 3 younger or 3 older in the sky, as well as potentially a frail elder. But most likely, if there's a sibling one older, this could be a bit older than you, more than just like a day older, right? Well, a day older. No one's a day older, but you know what I mean. Thanks for listening, Capricorns. Aquarius, I am one of you. We have a destined pivot karmic crossroads coming up, which where will I use on the thumbnail? I think karmic crossroads and karmic crossroads, life turning points or something, decisions. With the nodes of fate being activated by Mars for our sign in the 4th house, there's major decisions being made around home, property, land, and real estate, money, earnings, and resources, and chunky money, 8th house. So it's all about what's going on in your home connected to your finances. And maybe a lot of you are making some choices to spend more money for a bigger home, to cut back expenses and live more frugally. With the North Node in your 2nd house, you're making more money anyway. If you're not, you're doing something wrong. A lot of Aquarians, there's more money in the wallet, pocketbook, more possession of that which you need. Sometimes Mars here and the North Node could be an opportunity to change your vehicle, right? Buy a car, sell a car. But all this is happening in a very tight little window of time that starts off, go back to the algal moon, right? The big algal moon that happened, a new moon, on the 16th. And then as we move towards the 24th, a day or two before and after, you're noticing that there's a decision-making apparatus that feels fated, and life is fading you into new directions. And that faded new direction can activate career choices because Mars rules your 10th house. And because there's a bull up here, there's a Toro, there's a push comes to shove. You are making decisions at a deep level, a moksha level. What you really want to decide has roots from breaking free of your family of origin and patterns of your family ancestry. But at the same time, even karmic past life patterns, because Mars rules your 12th house. And as you're cutting and severing the cords of those things that aren't serving you, you're up against a battle in your professional world. This could be a boss. You're being bullied. This could be somebody in charge of you. But it could also be just a push and pull between your will of what you want to do that really releases you from karmic stuff and some imperative that you're already on target for in your career. And you got to figure out the halfway mark, the balance point, and choose something that can last the long story game. You'll be in this energy all the way to June the 28th. Mars is also working with Venus in the house of employees, in the house of employment, in the house of work stories. This is office space at home, making, constructing, cutting, moving your home or your office or your home office as well. Those things are happening here. It's so funny because I'm moving my home office after the 24th, right? So I totally get that. I'm moving my home. I'm moving my home office to my own dedicated space. This is beautiful home office, right? Decisions around getting pets, pivotal turning point pet stories, especially rescue animals. This speaks to rescues rather than puppies. Mars is ruling your house of charity, exalting it, and also the possibility of a lucky break when it comes to debt elimination. The South Node is playing some big stories here in your chunky money. You can rely on this money, right? It's your pension plan and it's money. It's your government grants and your social security money. It's your money that connects you to royalty income and Google AdSense revenue. And you're making decisions maybe to let it go or to not focus so much on it in a way. And maybe you're looking at stories to do with your mother that's connected to karmic pivots around that kind of money. Like, my mother inherited a lot from my dad, but then she didn't live to use it. She passed away, before she could even enjoy the inheritance. So when my dad passed 2 years before her, there's stories about your mother and loss and money that want to be parsed from the ancestral side of growing up in your childhood, your roots of your family, your mother's family. My mom's family were farmers and miners, right? And coming to terms with that. Because ultimately, whatever you come up with here, it's going to drive greater financial success. So uproot those stories, especially with Pluto. You're digging under the surface, the shadow material's coming out. He's retrograde. And a lot of that shadow material is connected to your childhood and to past lives. And this is a real excavation window of time. On a practical note, some of you are just moving and you may be renting or you may be buying. You may have domestic squalor, disputes with someone you live with, right? That's be careful for this T square. Right? Just disputes with someone you're living with. This is the goddess of things that thrive because they grow, and we do a harvest, right? A harvest time. And now we take that harvest here, audience, marketplace, clients, customers, business partners, reaping, sowing, harvesting. We're past the sowing phase. Now we're harvesting. Well, when we harvest, we have a sickle, right? So we cut something, and Mars is the cutter. This could cut away a way of working how you reach the audience, how you reach the marketplace, especially given that Mars is the ruler of the social media landscape, writing, teaching, communicating. This could also be a harvesting or reaping of a relationship. And it's possible that there's going to be a turning point, maybe even a surprising turning point with the sun in the house of romantic love and this harvest reaping and the sun ruling that. And Mars pushing and shoving here. Major decisions are being made about love that is both romantic and also committed. And by the time we get to June 28th, at the very latest, those choices and decisions will be made one way or another, right? The clarity will emerge. You'll know what you're doing. You'll have your hand on the steering wheel if that's ever true. And Mars is the ruler of your social media landscape. You're writing, you're communicating, you're teaching, and you're making changes from home-based and rooted excavation of patterns. I love that pattern thing here for you. It's really connecting to karmic patterns, karmic past lives, childhood stuff, and you're making significantly deep-rooted change so that how you engage here, right? Whatever that is, this is 12th house from Mars. It could be a bit about how you engage in solitude, creative projects alone, how you engage in writing at home alone, or how you engage in turning point decisions that affect your social media, online, and everything else, life, or even your relationship to siblings. Okay, major shifts are going on here. This is profound, but also fated energy. And so see how by the time you get to the 28th of June, you'll know what this has been about. Look to the 16th algal infused new moon in Taurus for the first discernible evidence of what you're doing here. Right? What is this for? Right? Why am I doing this? This is also to release yourself from addictions. What you put in your nose and your mouth connected to the house of self-undoing. Another release point as well. And finally, Pisces sun, Pisces moon, and Pisces rising sign. Now, you've been dealing with the North Node in your sign since January of 2025. This has very well allowed you to probably end up looking like you've got a expansion project in your Pisces sun, your career, Pisces moon, your home life and your emotional states, and Pisces rising, anything to do with your simulation character. You want to be more successful. You want to achieve your goals. You want to have worldly success. You're leveling up, right? You're leveling up. And that's now being accompanied by the fact that Mars is making choices and karmic crossroads decisions with you from your house of online social media, landscape, local neighborhoods and neighbors, and the places that you go to every day. Now, with Mars here, like if you write, market, sell, teach, or you do divining and scrying, or you're a fortune teller, oracle type person, then guiding people, right? This is the house of the moon's joy. Then you're definitely looking at an opportunity to make some very pivotal decisions here that will enact more success for you. And because Mars is squaring Pluto, there's some deep soul work going on. Shadow work, Pluto retrograde, 12th house, digging up the dirt. Like this is past life stuff, more likely karmic deep dives into ways of self-undoing or sabotage, especially around your value system around money and whether you're worthy of great success. A lot of you Pisces are unwinding that. So it's okay to be filthy rich kind of thing, and no one's going to be harmed. That whole money is the root of all evil shit. It's actually the love of money, not money itself. And so you're really, and Jesus turning over the tables and the marketplace for the marketers and the money changers. It's not like there's evil in money. There's evil in, what we do with money, right? So there's something trying to be turned around here, all right? A code about your wealth and your money and your deservingness is shifting dramatically. Mars is a part of getting that off the ground. Mars exalts your house of great gains. Win an Academy Award, get lots of money, be successful, be publicly recognized. That's your exaltation of your 11th house. Mars wants that for you. He rules your house of book publishing. Some of you might want to publish a book. Some of you might want to travel the world. Some of you might want to go and get more education. You got a bull against a bull, right? A raging bull and another bull. The bull and the bull are across Tauro and Mars. Please watch the intro. There might have been something that happened even on the May 16th new Taurus moon on Algol that pivoted some major intensity, but it may still be not here yet. It could be closer to the 24th, around things that happen in long distance and foreign lands that require maybe you to travel, but the bulldozer is not happy here, doesn't really like bulldozing through the third house. So travel as obligation maybe, or travel with stress or something like that. Maybe some sibling challenges, a sibling 3 younger, 3 older could really come up in your life around this moon. Around this karmic crossroads. And there could be some major things going on with that sibling. You might have to travel to see that sibling. There could be legal battles with that sibling. Venus is like loving up Mars and she's sextiling him more or less. So as we get to the 24th, 25th, and you want to go all the way to June 28th, the archetypal energy is very positive for creativity, inspiration, enthusiasm, entrepreneurship, art, and all of that artistic endeavors. Although some of you may travel or meet somebody or get into a relationship because you're traveling, or travel to engage in a relationship. Now, if you want to start a new relationship under this, it's from the past. It's not something that is brand new. It could be past lives, or it could be from the past. You're going to get back with someone from your past. There's a vibe there for you that it could lead by the 28th of June to a decision or a crossroads to return to a former relationship. And they would require a journey probably, or travel, or lots of communication for that to be a thing or not. And that includes emails, phone calls, and texts. You could find that you've got some changes to make to your health because you've got agricultural goddess in the house of health. And she is flowing to Neptune, Saturn in the house of what you put in your mouth, and Mars rules that. I see a lot of you making some dietary habits and changes for sure. That can include addictions, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anything from I'm gluten intolerant and I didn't know it, or I'm celiac, to changes to do with substance abuse. But the whole lay of the land would be more food-based nutrition, whole nutrition, unprocessed food, and something that grows. It could be very good for your health, and maybe a new substance. You never knew that all you needed was a watermelon a day, something like that. There's a change of nutritional stance coming up for you to improve your health. There's a small chance, I'm not going to say it's big, that you might have a job opportunity. You want to reap a reward, a harvesting here, a karmic reward that allows for a change of employment, new work, greater professional success. But if so, it might require a relocation to a different city or town or neighborhood, or might even require just that the job is filled with a lot of commuting or travel. But there is that opening there, and it could be very nourishing for you in a way, like the new work is very fulfilling or nourishes you just like food would nourish you. If you're changing your dietary style for your health, it's cardiovascular. It's blood, cardiovascular veins, blood pressure, blood work, heart stuff. That would be the reason to make the change, alrighty, according to this chart, not just because you're in the mood to try keto. There's a real specific momentum for improving health, and why even to fear of death, right? That's going to propel you to want to change your dietary habits. And if you do that under the fixity of Mars, you might do it forever. You might never go back to an old story. See, Mars rules what you put in your mouth or nose, and yet he's in a fixed sign, and he's determined, and he brings lasting change that fixes itself in place. It's not fickle. All right, that's what we got for you. I am so tired. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bells so you don't miss a thing. I didn't sleep well because of a family event, and so I was pretty well up all night. So thank you for listening, and thank you for your kindness. Please don't forget, when you like or hype or subscribe or share with your friends, that keeps me going, because that is my livelihood. So I appreciate all of you. I don't even have an outro. I'm just too zonked. I'll see you in the next video, which will be Monday week ahead, and we'll see what we've got for you then. Take care and enjoy the karmic crossroads.
Lunatic astrology.